I think we can get this started. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're back. We're here. We're live. We're doing a thing. I still don't have a system to turn down the music in a proper manner. But what's up? We got Angel, Trindominus over to my left, or your right. We got me, YourFace, and we have a special guest today. If he is at his phone, ready to talk, it's Jamal, Zophar321, Iron Man of Gaming champion. What else? We finally got him on. What other accolades do you have? Life to the Power of X champion, WCG Ultimate Gamer third place, tied for third place finisher, right? Yeah, hello. Jamal, how are you?
Ultimate video game player, the best in the world. No one can touch me. But that's inappropriate. The first thing you should start off with is said, Happy Easter, everybody.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Happy
or if
Easter,
you're in Animal Crossing, Happy Bunny Day. Happy get rid of that damn Bunny Day, actually.
Okay.
But, dude, this guy's been putting eggs everywhere all over the stupid map. And then you try to fish for an egg, or fish for a fish, you get an egg. You try to dig a hole and find a fossil, you get an egg. I'm tired of these damn eggs everywhere. Can we get rid of them, please? Thank you. They're gone today. We're done until next year, if anyone's still playing this. But anyway, how are you guys doing? I already got onto one of my rants today. We'll get into another one later. Angel, how are you? How was your week?
I'm doing outstanding. My week was pretty simple. As I said before, I was putting a lot of time into Bloodstained. I'm coming up on 40 hours in that game. And then, of course, doing my Destiny grind. That's pretty much it. Very simple week for me.
Yeah, I want to point out that you're cheating and you're playing offline Bloodstained. The agreement was to play on stream for Greaves, I think, right? Maybe, I don't know. I don't know the rules of your exchange.
Yeah, I was trying to play it on stream, but then I realized that a lot of the grinding that goes into it, and then the way that I play those type of game, might not be as entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, you can only watch somebody run into the same room 20 times.
Oops.
Farming. I don't know if that gets boring to watch. I don't know.
I guess it depends on the audience. All right, Jamal, what have you been doing this week? How's your life been?
Just working. Gotta work. Pay the food bills, pay the electric bills.
That's true, yeah. How, I guess since I had some interesting Corona encounters this week. I went out and now with the CDC mask recommendation, it was
That's right.
I actually wore a mask out in public. I didn't feel as self-conscious, but I still felt semi-self-conscious. But it's easier when more people are doing it. I guess it makes it less obvious. But what are we saying?
Well, being a worldly traveler, I feel like the masks are nothing new. It's just kind of new in the U.S. I feel like other countries have always kind of worn those masks just to protect others and themselves. So, hey, if you're protecting yourself, you shouldn't be self-conscious of how you look. Who cares? You're protecting your life, you know? Put that mask on,
your family,
your children.
I know I started laughing because I left Korea and now I'm walking around America and I'm like, this looks just like Korea now. Like everybody with the masks. It was great.
But that was before Corona, right?
Yeah. That's something that they do normally. Japan and Korea having the masks.
Oh crap, that's gonna be huge. Yeah, people still wearing gloves. I did not wear gloves. I just wash my hands 50 times when I get home. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't like the gloves actually. It protects you. It protects you as long as you remember not to touch your face. But now you're just collecting all the dirt and everything from every single place that you go. So how good are the gloves?
And then you just pass it on to everything you touch.
Yeah, I get so upset because I'm just looking at people, right? And I get so upset because when I was in the service, you know, I had certain jobs where I had to wear the gloves and we worried about cross-contamination and being in the hospital and all this other jazz. So I'm watching these people. They wear the gloves. They touch everything. They get into the car. They touch everything in the car with the same gloves that they were touching everything with. And they go to the next place and they're touching everything else. And then they're not even taking them off correctly. I was watching this guy taking them off. So he actually took one glove off one hand and used that bare hand to pull off the other glove by grabbing the fingertips. I was like, bro, what is the point? And people throwing them on the floor. Man, I was getting upset. I just look like a bunch of clowns right now.
I totally understand. Like, because at work, we take the credit cards. So I have a glove. I take the credit card, I put it in a machine, and then I give it back to them. And as soon as I'm done, I pull that one glove off from the bottom, not at the fingertips, and I throw it out. So there's no chance of me harming the customer or harming myself. And there's disposable gloves. That's how you're supposed to use them, not take them to the car with you, and not you're supposed to throw them out.
Exactly. But that's whatever. People don't know. People are scared. People don't have training. People are going to do what they think is right. Things happen. It's okay. Just wash your hands.
Exactly. Yes. I think I've washed my hands more this year than I've had the past 2 years in my life. Maybe even more than that.
Total? I don't think that's a good number.
No, because at work, every single time we interact with one guest, we have to use either wash our hands or use whatever hand sanitizer.
The hand sanitizer. Yeah.
So before we pick the product, we have to use hand sanitizer. And then after we are done with them, we have to use hand sanitizer. So it's like every single person. It's like boom, boom, boom. So my hands, they're ashy. They're like my knees. Black people.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I use that lotion, baby. I know exactly what you talk about. Looking like we're fighting chimneys and whatnot. I got you, baby.
And it's not even winter.
Oh shit, that's funny. Yeah, to me, it's funny. I didn't have to change anything like how I was doing, but I'm like a germaphobe anyway. So I was like, the world is now just conforming to the weird shit that I used to do before. I would always walk around with hand sanitizer normally. I was always washing my hands. Everybody thought I was my daughter would give me, grief. Like, Dad, you're being a germaphobe. So I made sure to get in touch with her when all this started. I was like, what do you try to say now?
Who's a germaphobe now? Everybody.
I saw a tweet, I think, or it was on Instagram. I want to pay the respects to whoever put it, but he said we're all Howie Mandel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
Oh yeah. That's how I live my life. Always cleaning everything.
I was watching something, or I read something from like a scientist or some expert. Essentially, it was like saying, moving forward, we might not be shaking hands ever again. It'd be an interesting world to live in, just elbow bumping people and whatever new thing we do, and bowing. We could bow. We can incorporate the bow. I think it's pretty.
Yeah, I actually feel uncomfortable. Like every time I come back to the States after I'm traveling around the world, I feel uncomfortable. Like shaking hands, it just feels so awkward to me. Because then I know, like, shit, I got to clean my hand because I don't know if that guy has cooties, but I don't want to be rude and throw on the antibacterial right there. So, like, I'm half focused on my right hand that touched his hand, and I don't want to touch anything with my right hand, but I'm trying to give this guy attention, you know what I'm saying? Because we're having a conversation. I don't know.
Wow,
anyway,
that's crazy. I can't believe you live with that. I've never once thought about it. But after this is over, if it ever ends, we might be able to go to like video game tournaments and not worry about people's hygienes and BO because people take care of themselves.
I feel like that'll still be a problem. They'll just wash their hands, except for
like the hands will be clean.
It'd be a welcome change for sure.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Anyways, let's go ahead and move forward to the first thing because I'm excited to hear what Eric has to say on this topic. Let's go, Eric.
All right. Well, if you notice on my side of the screen, there might be less of a background, less of color, less colorful background, because I got a new office chair because I've been using a gaming chair by Vertigear. I got for free from GameStop. I'm not going to talk about that part, but that's the only reason why I have it. But I want to come out and say it right now. Gaming chairs are a scam. There's no reason that they should be made so shoddily. There shouldn't be so many different versions that all are crap. You should have a chair that comfortably supports your back. So when I'm working 8 hours a day and then I want to stream for 4 hours after that or work on some projects, my back isn't killing me. I got to go lay down and I go pass out because I'm tired and my back hurts and it's all the pain piled up from work and stress and all this crap. And I wake up at midnight sleeping for 5 hours, wondering what the hell happened to my day, and then I don't know. I gotta wake up at 5 a.m. to get ready for work again. It's a mess. I'm tired of these gaming chairs ruining my life. So it's over there. It's cast aside, and I have this new comfortable office chair I got from Office Depot. That's still kind of hurts, but it's better than the other chair. I can sit in it without pain, and I'm okay with that. So yeah. Anybody else have
I think
gaming
we just.
chair?
I feel like we just shifted. We just shifted. I am now the calm. Here's the fury.
Let me rotate the colors really quick now. I don't know if I can do that really quick. What were you saying,
What do you think about that, Jabal? What do you think?
Well, I do have a gaming chair, and I think you probably have the wrong size. You're probably too short. So
okay, I'll admit that I'm
there.
too short. That's not my fault. I did not create my genetic pattern to make me this way. I didn't make that plan 28 years ago. I wasn't there in the bedroom. I'm just saying.
Because like you might need to adjust the cushions or something. And then, are you sitting upright while you're working, or are you lounging back? Because I lounge back. I play comfortably in the chair. I feel like if you're sitting forward, it's probably not comfortable.
I mean, I'm a sit-forward guy, but I do try to lounge in the chair to rest. That's like kind of what you're supposed to do. You got to use the cushions and everything to rest properly. The problem with the chair I got is that, like, especially with like the base pad, there's no give to it. It's like sitting on a foam rock. So then, like, wherever your hips are, they're gonna be set in that spot. And then when you lean back, everything's set forward, and then you're like your hip dysplasia. I don't know. It's not hip dysplasia. What is it called? There's like a term for it where it's a common problem for people because they don't work their hip flexors enough, and so their hips kind of tilt forward, and then they're in pain all the time. So people focus on your hip flexors. Get your spider lunges in there. Make sure you work out.
I think you're a baby. I think you're weak. I think because all these young people, we grew up with wooden chairs, folding iron chairs. Look at Angel. He's sitting in a wooden chair and he's not complaining about his back.
That's right.
You just have to suck it up.
That's right. Shout out Grandma Kitchen Table.
Hey, it's got a cushion on it, doesn't it? It's not pure wood.
It's a little bit of a cushion. Just enough cushion to remind me that there are better chairs in the world. That's how much cushion it is. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean,
but there is something that has to be said for having the chair that's the right size. And I bring that up because I used to have what did we call it? Maxonomic or Maxonomic chair. And I had the Dream Hack Special Edition. And it was comfortable. But after prolonged sitting, it was uncomfortable for me. Like my hips would hurt. Like
imagine that you had. Jamal.
Yeah. But the problem was that the chair that I had was intended for people who were like over 6 foot, and I'm not. I'm only like 5'9", 5'10" when I want to look tall. You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. So, but it was comfortable. It provided support up to a point, but it wasn't the right size for me. So I had to get rid of it.
Don't want no short man.
So I think that's part of the problem. But I don't know. Like after Eric did his rant and started talking, like I want to do some more
research.
Research. Yeah, I want to do some more research on it. But I think a lot of it comes to with the gaming chairs is getting the right size, because they make you, the way that they sell them, they make it seem like one size fits all. Because like you have to do some investigation into the specifics of the chair to get the dimensions and all that and understand what it's made for. Like, oh, it's made for up to 300 pounds. Like they'll tell you that, but they don't tell you, hey, if you're between 5'5" and 5'9", this chair is not for you. Get something else, you know?
Well, that's the thing with the Vertigear I did get, is that they do have like size breakdowns and height breakdowns per like type of chair you got. So I made sure to get the smallest chair that was available at GameStop. On the website, because at the time I had some free GameStop money to play with, and it was fine initially. It's just over time, and like the cover, like the faux leather covering on it, is falling apart as well, just over time, just because of the way I sit. I think
it could be a cheap chair on top of that too. It could also be the brand, because the chair that I was sitting in, like I put hours in that chair, and it was still looked as good, you know, a year later or whatever, almost 2 years later, still looked amazing. But like I said, it just hurt because my feet weren't exactly flat on the ground. It was just like the balls of my feet because it was too tall for me. That's what I had.
Devmani
part of it.
says Vertigear is not a great brand. That's why they are sold at GameStop. What's up, Blue Cheese? But yeah, I agree. And the way I sit, I like to sit like in a weirdo, crisscross, sometimes in my chair. So especially
Crisscross applesauce.
yeah.
Right.
So on the front of those Vertigear chairs is like a lump, I guess, to like make sure your crotch doesn't go anywhere. I don't know why. So, so when I'm putting pressure from my legs on that lump, that's kind of what's making that tear in the finish or whatever. So that caused issues as well. But yeah, just make sure you test out the chairs. There's no way for me to test it out. It was online only sale. They don't have test chairs at GameStop, so I couldn't sit in it beforehand. I just got it because it was free and it was a gaming chair and it looked decent. And I wanted to be a fake streamer person, influencer with my chair in the background. Now I'm all about comfort. I don't even know the brand of this chair I got. All I know is that I sit on it and it feels like a cloud until about like hour 12 when it's probably time to stop.
Heck, before Christmas, my chair came from someone else's trash.
Ooh,
It didn't have an armrest on the left. It had a metal armrest on the left, so I just sucked it up like a man.
Oh
Like,
my
What you
God.
got?
Okay, all right. Well, Angel obviously was having problems too, so just want to point that out.
It was, but I knew why. Like the brand I had was good. It was comfortable. It looked sexy, but it was just my feet weren't touching the ground properly, which messed up the alignment of everything else. So
Yeah.
6 hours, 8 hours in, whatever, then it started hurting. But that's the only difference. Why? Yeah, Jefferson Rawl has it now, but he's over 6 foot, so it
He
makes sense.
has no problems.
Yeah, he has no problems. He's over 6 foot, so that's where I'm at right now. I'm just happy I'm not sitting on a steel chair anymore.
It's always useful. Well, now you're on the wood chair. But yeah, I mean, you're going to need to invest soon. I definitely have some opinions on that. Go to Office Depot. Check out, I don't like these chairs with cushions. And you need, the mesh bottom that kind of, floats. That way you have all the give you need. You just sit in it. And the mesh back, which forms around your back, so you can just lean back and have no problems. You don't have to worry about some stupid cushion like this piece of crap that is it's hard as a rock unless you crush it, and then it's like memory foam rock. I don't know, whatever. This is my Rage controller 2.0 now, or 3.0. I'll be sure to get the stuffing out of this thing one day.
So angry. I'm proud of you, Eric. I'm proud of you.
I think I just pressed the button. Okay, we're good. Never mind. But yeah. Moving on. So PlayStation 5. Still haven't seen a PlayStation 5, but we have seen a PlayStation 5 controller, and it is stirring up social media earlier this week. Anybody get a glimpse of that earlier?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I get it on screen here compared to the Xbox One controller.
Yeah.
Very similar, other than obviously the D-pad's in the same spot. No real changes there, but kind of form factor design. It's very Xbox One sized.
It's an Xbox controller. I even commented on a picture in one of the groups that I'm in. I'm like, I'm excited to play my PlayStation 5 on my new Xbox controller. It's going to be amazing.
I mean, I was already doing that with a converter, so now I don't have to.
Okay.
But yeah, it like Grieve said, it's very Fisher Price. It looks cheap. It's supposed to have the stylistic future look to it, but to me it looks cheap. One of those bargain bin controllers you get to give to your little brother when you're growing up. This is your controller. I got the sophisticated PS4 controller that's sleek, and then you can have that one doopy looking one.
It does have that futuristic.
I think they're doing it to make it more customizable. I feel like those colors you can change to any color you want and make it to whatever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then with a white finish, you could paint it whatever you'd want as well. But that's the thing you got to think about is each different controller will be a different price, and if they have custom controllers, that'll be an extra price. And who's gonna want to pay this thing looks like it's gonna be $80? Who's gonna want to pay $80 for a controller every single time they want a new one, custom one?
There's fools paying $200 to $250 for a controller.
I was just about to say that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That may be true. I may have an Xbox Elite controller version.
Wait a second! How are you going to be talking trash and you're already there?
But
no sense.
But There's a difference. I forgot to cancel my pre-order, so they charged me automatically. And two, this is supposed to last me for a while. I don't know.
What about the Xbox? Didn't Xbox you can make controllers? How much does that cost?
It's like 70.
Customizable.
The normal control price is like 60, and I think it's like a $15 extra to do custom controllers.
Yeah, so you said there's a market for it, so why
Yeah.
not take
So people are definitely going to take
I'm
advantage of it.
I'm not hating on the controller. I mean, I would design it differently, but if they have a plan for it, then let's see what their plan is before we start complaining. I'm sick and tired of people on the internet thinking they know everything, but they don't know jack yet.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's going to have new features, which nobody's played with yet, especially that light bar and what that'll do, being on the front side instead of the back side now. The internal microphone, people may use that. Someone like Kojima to screw with you, listening in on what you're doing.
Trash.
Wait, can you talk? So you don't need a headset. You can just talk to the controller now.
Yes, technically I would believe so, but it's probably preferable to still have a headset thing.
Well, because they have a microphone. Wait, don't they already have a microphone on the?
Yeah, they already.
No,
have
it's a
Yeah,
speaker.
they already have that.
It's a speaker on the PS4.
No. They have to have a microphone because when I yell, like if you say PlayStation, you can give commands
Well, I
through
don't
your just yelling at it. And I don't
mean,
have
is your
like
headset plugged in at the time? I don't know.
That's a good question. I retract my previous statement.
It's definitely a speaker, but because I was playing Death Stranding, and you can hear the baby in the controller, so I know that for a fact. But
yeah, I don't know about having a speaker. Like I think they start adding stuff because there has to be a reason, right? You have to have some sort of reason to get the next thing, the next big thing. But does it really matter? I don't think so. Like, does the speaker and the controller really add much to the game?
It adds immersion. I mean, if you're playing like BioShock and you listen to a recording, a tape recording, and it actually comes from your controller as opposed to the TV, it actually feels like you picked up that recording, that device, and you're listening to it right where you're at. So if you're playing virtual reality, that adds another level of immersion.
Interesting. Because I don't know how I feel about that. And the only reason why I say that is because when I play, I'll have headphones.
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
So like the speaker doesn't really add much. In some of the games, they just put it in there to add some sound or you hear some commands through it. So I end up turning that off in the game settings because it's more annoying to me than anything else. Because the speaker isn't at the same quality level as the rest of the sound that I'm hearing. So it's kind of a little annoying. So I just turn it off all the way. But I don't know. I don't really know. Like I think a controller should just be a controller. Simple.
Well, that's Xbox's approach for sure. But I do like the idea of like some gimmicks. Like I haven't played PlayStation 4 for too long. I've only had it for a couple months now. But like I mentioned, the baby and Death Stranding. I thought it was funny, like because I forgot that I put it on the speaker for the audio for the baby. So I had my headphones on. And I start hearing a baby. I'm like, where the hell is that baby coming from? I lifted my controller or my ear cup, and I'm like, oh, the controller. Shit, I got to pay attention to that.
Oh, okay.
But like the Wii really used a speaker really good. Like in No More Heroes, when you got a phone call, it would ring from there. Fragile Dreams, you would hear like ghosts and noises through the Wii remote. That was your flashlight. So it just really depends on the game and if it's utilized properly. Obviously, don't just put it in your game if it's not going to be beneficial to the experience.
Yeah, of course. Greaves says, you have obviously never heard Claptrap yell at you from 3 feet away. It's a pleasure, really. I guess he's talking about Borderlands and the speaker functionality in that. But she finds the speaker in the controllers neat, and I do as well. And the other stuff they're doing as well. Let me take a look. They're going to be having adaptive triggers as opposed to, or similar to the Xbox, but they're going to be somewhat different in terms of like tension when you pull the trigger versus like different motors in the trigger like the Xbox has. I wish I had an open controller so I could show what I was talking about, but I don't. But there's like separate motors in the trigger that act differently for an Xbox controller. But in the case of, this isn't a PS5 controller, but in the PS5 controller, when you pull the trigger back, say like for a bowstring in Horizon Zero Dawn, as you pull it back, it'll get like more, you'll get more feedback as you pull the string back in the game. So stuff like that is what they're intending to implement, along with, what else? Let me see.
I mean, that's okay. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I like the USB Type-C, transitioning over to the Type-C.
Yeah, they still have the internal rechargeable battery, which I wish Xbox would move to, or at least provide you with a rechargeable battery. Because
I don't know how I feel about that, because once that battery's dead in that controller's done.
Yes, that's
Unless
true.
is it easy to replace?
I don't believe so. It'd probably be the same as like a PS4 controller.
So that controller's done. So like I guess you could say, Xbox, please provide us with a rechargeable battery at first, but not built in, because once that controller's dead, there's no way to fix that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Like, as in options, since, well, hopefully this doesn't mess up my audio, but like with this normal Xbox One controller that I'm about to screw up, because this is where my headphones are plugged into, you can take the back off, you can put in a rechargeable battery or AA batteries. If it came with a rechargeable battery that I could remove, that'd be great, so I could swap those in and out. But it forces you to use AA batteries. On the other hand, this Xbox One, or whatever it's called, I don't even remember what it's called anymore, Elite controller has no removable batteries installed. So when it dies, it's done. If it's not plugged in, it's a $150 paperweight, if not more. Actually, I think it costs more than that. But yeah.
I've never had an issue with the rechargeable. Like what usually happens in my situation is that
you break them first.
I mean, you're not lying. That is also true. So there have had a couple that didn't make it, but even in this latest one that I've been playing with, the battery works amazingly well, but the internal function for the direction, that's what's messed up. That's why I talk about I can't turn left. But so I feel like there's other things in the controllers fall apart long before the battery does.
Yeah, PS4 gamers just don't play games enough to worry about that battery wearing
now
it'll issues and break it.
Lose charge, like it'll lose charge, and then I'm like, oh, but I don't know. I don't know, because even when on my 360, I would put in, I had the rechargeable mod, is what I would do. So I put in the rechargeable battery instead of using the AA's, and then I wonder if I did the same thing with on the Xbox One. I can't remember.
No, I still use the rechargeable batteries. I never use the AA's unless I don't have something charged. But I mean, they're only good for about 3 years if you play decent, because the charge life goes down to like an hour at most once they're bad.
Well, yeah. With that type of battery, there's going to be you're going to lose. That is correct. I don't know. I think it's just money. I honestly think it just comes down to money. Why Xbox is going with the AA's as opposed to rechargeable? I think it's all about money.
It saves them money, but then with PlayStation, the faster your controller breaks, they can charge you for another whole controller. Where Xbox, you just have to buy another rechargeable battery. Mm-hmm. And there are other solutions to buy those rechargeable batteries. You don't have to buy it from Microsoft, but PlayStation, the only person that makes PlayStation controllers is PlayStation. They're getting all the profits, all that money. They're taking it from all you PlayStation gamers.
I don't know, man. Like, I think the money is just shifted, like where the money goes. So with Xbox, you're paying for the hardware, like the machine itself. They're not too concerned about. I mean, they are concerned about the controllers and peripherals, but it's really the hardware within the machine that's, I think, where they spend more of their money. Like, whatever. It is what it is.
I kind of disagree in terms of the controller. They do focus a lot on the controller, especially with that, like, different kinds of controllers, though. Not like their main controller. So, like, they have the adaptive controller for to make it easier for handicapped people to be able to use play games now.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Mad props to them for that.
Yeah, that's
really good
pretty damn
videos
cool.
online.
Really cool.
But yeah, and it's really, I think, a change they've made over this whole generation is like to be more focused on inclusiveness and controllers and just having different options, which is good, which is great. Hopefully that continues forward. I mean, I'm sure it is with Phil Spencer at the head. But let's see. Moving on to our next topic. It looks like Angel wanted to talk about Streets of Rage 4. And
Ooh,
Oh my God!
Son!
Oh my God! I'm shaking over here. It's so awesome.
Son, I am ready. Ready for it. So ready for it. Gonna be killed. So I was a little concerned at first. I was a little concerned, and like the whole cell shading, I kind of like it, but nah, it's all right. It's all right. But then I started seeing gameplay, and I was like, oh man, it looks really good. And then I got hit with the fact that I can play as an old character. Big Max can come back in. Oh, forget about it. And then not only that, I can play the new looking one with the old characters with the old music. Forget about it.
It's a done
Purchase.
deal
Purchase. That's a love letter.
Exactly. They're paying homage to all the original fans. They're giving us a new game, and they're giving us more of what we used to love. You don't have to totally change the game to make a new one. You've got to pay respects to the original, just like Sonic Mania did. The Streets of Rage 4 is going to be fantastic. I bought it on limited run, so I get my physical copy, and then I don't know if it's coming to retail, but
I think I'm gonna have this as I don't think I'm gonna look for a digital or physical copy for this one. I think I'm gonna stick to digital. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick for digital on this one. But so good, so excited.
No release date yet, but I think everybody's excited. I didn't see anything about multiplayer, but I'm sure there'll be online multiplayer.
There was
only for 2 players, I think. There's 4 players on
local
co-op.
Yep, 2 online. But when I saw that you could have up to 4 people playing, I was like, nah, son, you don't need 4 people. No, 2. Just keep it 2. I don't need any more than that. Just 2 people is fine. That'll be fine. Just let me be able to do what I gotta do. Because that's something that I don't know if you guys got to play the Double Dragon remake. Was it Double Dragon Neon?
Yeah, Neon.
Right? Yeah. That was a fun game, but they didn't have online multiplayer, which kind of sucked. That was a little disappointing. So when I saw that you would be able to do online with Streets of Rage 4, with the characters you like, with the soundtrack, with the new look, money.
Now you got to unlock those characters, right?
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Right.
That's old
You
school.
can't be shady. You can't be shady and buy them. You got to unlock them. You have to earn it. These little kids can't come by their V-Buck cards or their Xbox cards or PlayStation, Nintendo cards. They got to actually unlock the characters.
That's how it should be.
Exactly. Earn it. Show your real gaming prowess, baby.
Right.
Step up.
I just
Step
want Max.
up to the plate.
I just want Max. That's it. I just want Max. That's my guy. Just Max. Everyone else is okay.
Lunatic just came in the chat, said, "Sup all." What's up, Lunatic?
What up, Lou?
Yo, yo, yo.
Speaking on Fortnite, there was I didn't get the chance to really look too deep into this Twitter trend, but there's like a RIP Fortnite or Rest in Peace Fortnite party or something. I don't know if anybody saw that or had any idea of what was going on with that. You guys don't use social media very often though, so I'm the young one here.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that, man. Because Fortnite, I don't really like Fortnite anyway.
I use social media, but I could care less about Fortnite. So
Fortnite's okay. It's alright.
I mean, it was just interesting because it kind of blew up. It was trending, and there's like the different sides of people being upset at Fortnite versus like people defending Fortnite, and I don't know. With games now
if you don't like it, just don't play it.
Exactly.
It's just that easy. Why do you have to hate on something? There's so many other games. Just play something else. Leave that game alone. If there's people that find enjoyment in that, let them find enjoyment. People are ignorant. We're supposed to have peace and love. We all love video games. Let's come together. Stop throwing hate. Stop throwing hate. Like, why do we have to hate each other because we like something else? I don't understand.
Well, I think this is more of like internally in the Fortnite community, not like people on the outside. Like, so there was some change in a tournament. I think some hackers got in and screwed it up for everybody. I need to look more into that though. I don't have the facts to back up anything I'm saying.
Hold up. I just want to be clear. that Eric is trying to have a conversation without any information. Bro,
I
how are we
asked,
supposed to talk about
hey,
something?
Hey, I asked if you guys had any information on it. That's how I started off the conversation.
No.
All right, we're
Once
moving
you
on.
said Fortnite, we was like, we don't follow Fortnite, son. We only follow good games.
We're moving on.
Hashtag hater.
I think, okay, now you guys are just on the opposite ends of the spectrum now.
No, Fortnite is okay. It just takes a different skill set to play. So ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nah, it's not the best, most well-made game, but people like it and enjoy it. That's their prerogative. And I can play other games that are better. And that's my prerogative. Anyway, I think we're here now at, you had some GameStop questions, Angel, and we...
oh boy. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Looks like we trapped
guess,
Jamal into this situation.
Yeah, we'll ask him, and then we'll circle back to what Greaves brought up about Valorant, because I had questions about that. But so there was this article, right? And I was reading some things about what was going on with GameStop, and that in certain states with the COVID-19 and the government telling other agencies to shut down and things of that nature, being only essential only, right? Because we had the same problem here in Orlando, Florida, right? The GameStops had to shut down. A lot of non-essential businesses had to shut down. So my question was, because I was curious, is that there were some complaints that some stores weren't receiving what they needed in order to function safely. Some were saying that there was like bad morale in terms of happening in the shop and all that stuff. But I was just curious if there's any, like what the real is, because the news will only tell you one part of the story, and then there's always more to the story. I'm just curious from the perspective of somebody who's in the mix, like what do they see going on with GameStop?
All right, so first I should probably say like some sort of disclosure. This is my personal opinion. This has nothing to do with GameStop. All right, like their opinion on the matter. And you are correct. There's always different perspectives, different views, and this is a very complex situation. Now, as far as like supplies and stuff like that, we've always been able to expense out cleaning supplies, order supplies, and even before this started, my store has always had gloves for my employees because we had to clean the bathroom, we had to take and trade. We've been doing it for years. We've always had hand sanitizer because we don't always take in the best looking stuff. So my store's always had an ample supply of it. I feel like if there is one-off situations where those stores weren't prepared or didn't have stuff, it's I don't want to say it's at the fault of the manager, but I always try to look out for my team's best interest. So on that regard, there's only so much you could do. Any company, when everyone's going crazy, getting all sorts of stuff, if you go to the store and there's no hand sanitizer, there's no hand sanitizer. But as far as I've known, or as far as I've worked with this company, I've always had that stuff there. So it's hard for me to see it, but I'm sure there's one-off situations where it probably did happen where they didn't have it, and they're scaring. But from the instance of forcing us to work, it never ever happened. They never said you have to work. This has actually been the most lenient I've ever seen GameStop be in any sort of situation. They ask, we don't want you to be at work if you're the least bit sick. It's not even if you have COVID-19. If you're sick at all, they don't want you to be at the store. They're like, no, go home. You can't work. We don't want to take any risk. We don't want to put our employees, our customers at harm's way. It's frustrating seeing some of those articles, but the precautions that we're taking now with the delivery at door, I think is very responsible if we are going to be open, because it's the least amount of contact with customers, associates. We don't take any trade. We don't take cash. People pay for the stuff online. We package up their order. We look at their ID through the door or their confirmation number, and we hand them the package. Some stores even have like a little bucket where they just put the item in the bucket for them to grab, so there's literally nothing there. There's protocols that wash your hands every single time before and after you deal with a guest. There's so many precautions now. It's so great. Now, this is another part of my opinion, because everyone says non-essential, essential. I think in this day and age, more so than ever, I feel like GameStop is more essential than people even realize. When you have kids at home and there's nothing to do, I think video games are such an important part of our mental health to make sure there's an activity for us to do, make sure that we're doing. And I see people online say, oh, well, just download the game. Well, you guys don't realize how long this might go on. I think it's an ill decision to spend $60 on a digital game that has no value. What if in 3 months your lights are going to be turned off? Where if you bought a physical game and you could resell it to someone for cash and use that for food on your table, to pay your bills, things like that. When you're buying things irresponsibly with digital and stuff like that, I don't know. And I think as long as GameStop can stay open, they should, because we're going to be less of a drain on the government, because there's so many other businesses that they're trying to support. It's a complex thing, and there's no way I can delve into everything. All I can do is just give my opinion about stuff. But I'm happy. I'm happy we're open. I feel safe that I'm working. And like I said, when you introduce this, it's always there's always multiple sides to the story, and I'm sure there's situations where things didn't come out or weren't the best. But like I saw the article about people wearing plastic bags. I mean, you got to be creative in intense situations. Like if you run out of gloves, it sounds weird to say put a plastic bag on your hand, but I feel like it does a job. You put the plastic bag on, you take it off, you throw it out, and you can rinse and repeat and do the same thing. I don't know. I just think people. There's a lot of people that have angry boners towards GameStop. They hate to love us. They love to hate us, and they want to use us as whipping boys and put us out in the spotlight. But there's other businesses, other people are trying to do stuff, and it's a learning thing. No one has all the right answers right away. You just got to adapt and grow and be as responsible as you can in the process. I mean, is there any like direct questions you want to ask? Because I know I went off on a big spiel.
No, that was good. That was good because it gives good perspective, because I think part of what the pushback was if people didn't feel safe doing work, then they felt as though that they had to come in, and which I guess is another question that people would wonder is like, do they have anything in place? So let's say you're not sick, right? And if you're on an hourly wage, like you have to work in order to get paid, but you can't go into work. Do they have something set off, like a time off, sick leave, or anything like that with GameStop? I don't know how that works.
Well, I know. I think it was publicized and put on online. Obviously, if it wasn't, it was definitely through some third source. They instituted a payment, some sort of like way for anyone that was hourly to get like 2 weeks of pay. Just because like I said, they didn't want people coming to work or feeling unsafe. Now, obviously, after that initial payment's gone, there's only so many things that you could do. But I know there's like FMLA. There's a number of things that you can utilize, and then the government has assistance. You can file for unemployment. I feel like you can file for partial unemployment if you're not working full time. But it's just the reality of the situation is you got to do what's best for you as a person. If you have someone like you're with your grandmother. If I lived with my grandmother, I would not be going into work, and they would respect that decision. There's been multiple people within my district that have people that are immunocompromised, and they're not working, and they still have a job for whenever this ends. But you have to do, especially in this, because we don't know. I personally feel like the government is not giving us all the information, and I understand they don't want to cause a panic, but initially our first suggestive date was everything was going to open back up April 6th or 7th. Now they say May 1st. I feel like it's going to soon. They're going to announce June 1st. They're just going to keep pushing it back. But if they say it all up front, like they want to say, then people are going to get pissed. So they're trying to alleviate some of the emotion. And then you were just saying before we started, with it, because Corona is a hot topic. But if you have a curfew, we don't have a curfew, at least that I know of, in my state. So, because you're in Florida, I'm in Ohio.
Yeah, that is an important distinction to make too. So the conversation that we have is all in the what's being pushed and enforced in the specific state. So as I said off stream, here in Orlando, Florida specifically, we do have a curfew. I believe it's from midnight to 5 a.m. We can't be outside. And it's highly suggested that we stay home during the week. And there are a lot of the businesses that are not considered essential have been shut down. So it's, so I guess if you take that also into the context of working, that makes sense.
But
Go ahead.
It's tough because to me, working is essential. Like I want to have a job as long as I can, utilize and work and things like that. But there's other things that we do. We sell keyboards. We sell camera equipment so people can stay in touch. We sell PlayStations and Xboxes with cameras so people can stay in touch. Kids, while they're out of school, can access learning portals through their PlayStation and Xbox, which is way cheaper than getting a computer in those times. So there's different things like that. And I feel like by us being open and being responsible, we're keeping some people that don't want to go to those big box retailers to get their gaming needs out of those big stores where they probably have thousands of people shopping at any given time. I don't know the magnitude like of a Walmart, but those places always seem packed.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, Jamal. Like when I first heard about the question of GameStop considering themselves to be essential, it was the word essential that caused some chagrin, if you will, to use a fancy term. But like you hear that word essential, and you're like, whoa, like water is essential, hospital is essential, police essential, fire department essential, food, grocery stores, and then you're like GameStop. I don't know if it falls in there, but I guess it also depends on the way that you look at the term essential and what is that specific business providing. And you said a couple of things that I didn't take into consideration, like so in terms of video games being for mental health, I actually agree with that, because once you said that, I was like, well, shit, yeah, that's right. Because even for military guys, right, even when in 2003, right, I was in a combat zone, right, but while we were there, what we would do whenever we weren't doing our patrols or having to deal with any of that stuff, we were playing video games. That's how we would decompress. So there is some truth to that. And so as I thought about it more, as Jamal was talking about this, I think part of it is, one, people are upset with GameStop, right, from the past. I take in 7 games, they give me 27 cents, right, of in-store credit. You know what I'm saying? People get upset. So there's part of that's in there. And then also for the news, it makes more sense for them to report on the businesses that aren't being managed well, that don't have what they need to protect the workers, as opposed to talking about a store like Jamal's store, where they have what's needed for the employees. So I mean, that's a very good point. You got me thinking a little bit differently here. Like I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's just one of those things, and I hate to badmouth other employees, but I feel like as a manager, you should have been prepared, because you want to be sanitary. I mean, you have employees cleaning bathrooms. You've seen the trades people bring in sometimes. Like,
yeah,
they're not going to be the best. You want to protect. I look out for my employees. So when people people say these stories, I don't know if they're fact checked or not. But then I feel like, well, you're basically saying you've never ever had hand sanitizer at your store ever, and you've always taken in trades. Like, that just seems so odd to me. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's Greaves put something in here too that expresses what I'm thinking. Like, people don't take video games seriously still after all this time, is what she wrote in there. And I agree with that. I agree with that very much, because when, sometimes even when I was in the military, when I was active duty, and I would tell people, yeah, I'm going to a convention, I'm going to be speaking. And they're like, oh, wait, you're going to be speaking? Like, oh, that's pretty good. And then they're like, yeah, I'm going to be talking to gamers. And then we're like, oh yeah, nerd. Like they kind of take away from the significance of it. Or if you're like, yeah, I'm going to a competition. They're like, oh yeah, what sport? Like, oh, it's a video game competition. Oh, okay, nerd. And then even now, the mental health issue, as I said before, I didn't really think about it as much. It's something that I understood, but I didn't put it within the context of being an essential business. And like, you gave some perspective on it, and it's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess
I mean,
if they're, go ahead, Jamal.
I mean, I had to come up with it because I remember when Governor DeWine said, he's like, just be prepared to explain why you're open. So I thought about it, and that was the conclusion I came to. But like you guys, both of you guys, I've met you guys through video games, and video games is the fiber of my being. Like everything, I just love games, and it's done so much for me. And if you take that out, you force that away from me, it's going to be a struggle. It's such a great way to stay connected to people across the country, to do things you can't do. But a lot of people like want to stay up on the new games. Like giving people that Animal Crossing was huge. And being open so people can grab the Animal Crossing, because there's not, everyone assumes everybody's very great with internet or how to do this or how to do that, but it's not. A lot of it are parents or things like that kids want something, and they want that place where they can go and get it now, because they don't know, is their package going to be delivered, is their package going to be stolen at their front door? Like it's just so many variables that you just don't consider. So all we could do as a business is be responsible as possible, stay open, and they told us, like, if the police come or the health department comes, we need to comply. I'm not going to resist. They don't want us to resist. We're going to say, yes, can I have your badge number, and yes, we'll shut down. That type of stuff. So all we can do is be responsible. To be honest, when they gave us that choice, I actually said, yeah, we'll shut down, because none of my employees want to work. But then I saw how many people were still going out, and I'm like, you know what? Persona's coming out, Resident Evil's coming out. If I reserved those games, I'd be frustrated if I couldn't get them. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just reopen. And I worked by myself, and then my employees, after that, the time frame of the initial lockdown came, they decided they wanted to come back to work because they're like, oh well, I need money. So it's just like one of those. It's one of those things. Well, they literally thought it was going to be over on that initial time.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's the problem, because what if this goes all the way to September? Like this will destroy our economy. This will destroy people's jobs. I feel like if this goes on that long, because I keep hearing people say September, but I feel like 1/5 of all businesses are going to be permanently shut down.
And that's getting into another conversation. The economic impact of everything that's happening with Corona, and how the social structures that we have set are inefficient. They're very, very inefficient, and not just the way that we do business, but also the way that we take care of each other, the way our healthcare system is set up, and things of that nature. So I do agree with you. The longer it goes on, the worse things will be from an economic standpoint, which I believe is why people have fear for themselves. And then there is also, if you see a big business that's trying to stay open, the first thing that people are going to jump on as well is like, oh, they're just trying to make money, whatever. They don't care about people. But I'm glad that we have Jamal on the show today, because he's giving us a different perspective from being inside. So it's not necessarily all about trying to make the money. It also does provide some sort of quality of life improvements for people, which is very true. But something else that I think is amazing as a result of which I hope continues to validate the importance of video games and digital media and the format that we're in right now is streaming. So teachers they're streamers, is essentially what they are. They're teaching online and they're streaming for their students. Professional sports players who can't play in the sport arenas anymore, they're now playing video games to provide a level of entertainment for their fans. So they are also streaming. They're streamers. And I'm hoping that people will get away from this idea that video games is really a flight of fancy and actually have some sort of, importance within the society, whether it be for relaxation, as we talked about, therapy, being able to connect with friends, family, things of that nature, educational. I mean, hell, anyone who comes into the stream and watches this show, they're going to walk away learning something. They're either going to be like, yo, that was a piece of information I didn't know. They're going to learn a new dad joke, or they're going to be entertained. They're going to walk away from the show with something, right? So it's funny. I never thought that I would say, hey, GameStop being open, or GameStop, and then after saying the word GameStop, put something positive after it. But Jamal raises some good points, man. What,
I mean,
what do you?
all you can do is you just got to ask people. If you talk to someone that's upset about something, of course they're gonna say bad things. Like, and that's the problem. A lot of these news medias don't fact check. They don't get the information. They just take for word one person whatever they say. And that's the biggest issue with a lot of things like this. They play off the hysteria.
I think part of it, which would be better, is if there was a distinction with the word essential, right? Because even in the military, we also have like essential personnel, and that word essential is very specific. There's a very specific meaning to it. You know, without these people, without this, the mission cannot happen, right? So essential personnel would be security forces. Without security, the base could be overrun. Maintenance workers. Well, without the maintenance workers fixing the airplanes, we can't go bomb America's enemies, right? But we're not really too concerned about with the guy who deals with finances in the back. You know, they're not considered essential. Like, I mean, they can work from home or do something else. They don't need to come in. So maybe if there was better clarification of the word essential for the public space, or maybe if they had different tiers, maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that would have changed the way that the public had reacted to this whole situation?
It's hard to say because we didn't have a rollout nationwide that was across the board. Everybody was doing their own thing. Everyone has their own situation. Some places are more sick than others. Some people had more tests. It's hard to say what you're supposed to do in a time like this because we're all learning. But I'll tell you this. This has been the busiest we've been ever. It's been insane how many people love games, and it's so awesome. It's even before this was happening, we were hella busy. So I'm really excited.
Do you think sales went up because people were in quarantine or didn't have to go to work, and they were like, "Well, now I can play this video game," or "I got nothing else to do. I might as well play video games." You think that played into the sales figures?
Well, it definitely did for like the week before, like when people started realizing like, oh my God, this is going to be happening. They're going to shut us down. Let's go get our games. But to me, I think the positive spin on this is I've talked to a lot of people that said, oh, I haven't gamed since I've been in college, or I haven't done this in so long, but because I have nothing else to do, I'm going to. And I'm so hoping that these people like find that magic that they've lost. And when these new systems come out, they get on board with these new consoles, because that would be so awesome to keep the gaming community growing. Because I think a lot of people would think, oh, I don't have time. Once they start playing again, they're going to realize, damn, I love games. Games are so awesome. I don't know why I ever fell off. There's always something in life that kind of throws you a curveball, but you should never lose the love of your games. They're so important to everyone's being. It really is. Like, oh my God, gaming is. I can't spout how awesome games are. I'm sorry.
So, CFed actually put something in here that is pretty interesting, and he put in some key words that I want to throw out there that I think also feed into this conversation about GameStop considering themselves essential. It's like CFed says, "I feel like it should have been taken seriously when we first learned back in January, but it took this long for the government to take it seriously, and now people are dying and dead. Countless people are jobless." So and that also feeds into this conversation that I was trying to have about the word essential and as to whether or not it should have been multi-tiered. Because if somebody is saying like, hey, you know, this is a very serious thing, people are passing away, we need to be putting our efforts into something else. And then within that same context, we're putting in, yo, GameStop is open. Go get yourself some video games. Is it the fact that the seriousness of the disease and what people are thinking about? You think maybe that's mitigating the significance of video games? Do you think it's the way society views video games and then comparing that vision on the seriousness of COVID? Like, why do you think there is such a clash between the media and those who are calling for GameStop to shut down? What do you think might be pushing that?
It's so hard. Like I said, this is super complex, and you touched on it. Like, people don't take games seriously, but when he's talking about people dying, that's serious. And I'm sorry for any family that's lost anybody and anything like that. And the government potentially late reaction to it and the seriousness of it. But all businesses can do is do as responsible as possible. 6 feet, social distancing, practicing that stuff and implementing it. Like I said, we do the delivery at door. So the contact interaction with guests is so limited over the phone order, that type of stuff. Keeping people as safe as possible, but the safest way that you could be is stay at home. So if you feel like you're around a loved one that is not in good shape, you should not be leaving. I mean, it's just, to me, that's my advice to you. Don't go out. And my personal opinion on the disease is I don't know how bad it is. Because we don't have the numbers. We really don't. I feel like there's way more people that have it that are asymptomatic that we don't know. So, like, when this is over with, I'm sure we'll find out. But if there's no cure, the cure's not coming until next year, right? If that.
That's what they were talking about,
like
test phase and
6
everything
months
else.
to whatever,
So when the flu season hit, like, even if we get this under control now, when the flu season hits, people are going to be paranoid that they have COVID, and it could just be the flu. So this isn't going anywhere. So we need to find a way to adapt our life to this and keep as many businesses open as possible, but be responsible in the way that we conduct business. Because if we don't do that, we're going to have everything in the economy is going to be done. We have to figure out a way.
It's a very good point to make, being responsible in the decisions. And it's interesting too. Again, people know that I retired from the military over 20 years. And when I look at some of the crisis response techniques people use, how people who may not be involved in the crisis, how they're reacting to it, people who've never been in stressful situations, like in the service, anyone who's in the service, right, who has served, you are dealing with things that most people avoid, right? Whether it be sickness, bullets, stress, things of that nature, right? So it's all about taking care of yourself and those around you, and then you're still able to perform within that stressful, crazy situation. But Jamal had said something like, maybe the government isn't giving people information because they're worried about how they're going to react. I 100% agree with that, because I don't know why we are out of toilet paper for a respiratory disease. I don't get it. People panicking. Yes, they're not going to give you information. If you're panicking over a little bit of information, you're buying all the damn toilet paper. But so I think there's a little bit of that going on.
No, I'm frustrated by, like, the power that these people have over our normal everyday life. Like that Bill Ackman dude that invested how much, 27 million, and made billions of dollars. Like 3 days before that, he said there's going to be a big crash. The economy's going to go, or the stock's going to go down, and all of a sudden he's reinvesting and he makes all this money. Like, that's not fair. I feel like it's a way to separate the elite from the middle class, and the middle class is going to just be put down again if we don't get the economy go rolling soon. That's just my personal opinion, but I don't want to play into conspiracy theories. I can only talk about what I know.
Oh, we should have a stream just about that.
Maybe
get the X-File themes going. I got you guys.
Maybe next week. We'll see. Dev Monty has some questions. We can bring him in for a few minutes, and then we can wrap up and get out of here, go home, celebrate Easter with our families, and or just play video games and celebrate Easter alone. I don't know. Whatever you got. All right. So yeah, let me bring him in.
Should I bounce out?
No.
No.
You ain't going nowhere.
They're for you. The questions are for you. So we have Dev Monty.
Oh my God.
3 minutes. You're
right.
going nowhere.
All right. Dev Monty is joined us in the voice chat. He's got some questions for Zophar. So fire away. Make it quick.
Whoa. Make it quick. Pump your brakes, son.
Only 7 minutes.
Sit back in your gamer chair and let the old folks talk.
It's an office chair now.
So anyways, I'm old school GameStop. Like, put that out there. I was GameStop before GameStop was GameStop, when it was still
Games.
software, etc.
Oh wow, way back.
Yeah. before they bought Funko Land.
Funko Land, rest in peace.
Funko Land. That I love that newspaper style game guide they gave you. It's like 10 cents for Super Mario Brothers because everyone had a copy. What? Jamal just dropped?
Oh, what? Oh my goodness. There he is. He's back.
He's back.
All right. I was like, what happened? I think I let my phone go to like whatever it does. Shut off.
Don't worry, you didn't miss
sleep
anything.
mode.
All right.
All right.
So-
What did he say?
I
wasn't running, so I want to hear what you had to say.
I didn't get to the question yet. I was just putting some background. But anyways, so I mean, you're saying that GameStop is essential because they sell keyboards and cameras and mice. But let's be honest, they sell like one keyboard and camera in a store.
No.
90% of it is online and it's delivered.
Well, each store. So our functionality with each store is we actually act as individual warehouses. So people that make online orders, we actually pack them up and ship them to their houses. So any of our product that we have, we actually do that every single morning, midday, and in the evening.
Right, if you have it in stock. But there's very few GameStops, maybe 10% that carry computer peripherals anymore. I mean, when I worked for GameStop, like I was telling these guys, back when it was software, etc., I mean, we held graphics cards, keyboards, mice, of course, headsets, but, we had everything. Speakers. Really, that was the thing. No one had headsets. We all had, Sound Blaster speaker setups in the stores, and GameStop shifted away from that completely. So,
it's changed a lot. Like, I would say 50% of stores have PC sections now.
50%?
Now, 50% have PC sections. So we have like keyboards, we have mice. My store has a ton of all this stuff, but it's not even just that. It's like PS4 cameras, Xbox Connects, microphones, PC headsets, all that interactive stuff that you need to utilize.
So is that based on? I mean, it's obviously based on area, right? Because like my GameStops, in all of the GameStops that surround me, none of them have a PC section. One, we had Fry's Electronics before they went belly up, so they sold all of that. So, I mean, I know GameStops will, they shift product to a degree to serve their areas. So for the whole company to call themselves essential, I feel is a misnomer. Certain areas could have essential products in them, but as a whole company, they're not rolling out to be an essential company. It's not like a Best Buy where every single Best Buy has these products. Every single Walmart has some of these products. It's like regional at that point.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard because when you start getting into definitions and concepts, if the company provides a service that's accepted as essential, it doesn't matter what store has it. The whole company is considered essential.
And I mean, no business exists not to make money, right? So now we all know GameStop was in trouble before COVID hit. They were already like, we are bleeding money and we're waiting for the new consoles to come out, and that's our rebound moment. Now this hits, so now there's no foot traffic in the stores. They're being told to shut down in some states completely. They owe rent on those spots until rent, alleviations happen. They own property. They're paying for store space they can't use. They have some employees they have to keep on. I mean, they're hemorrhaging even more money at this point. Whatever they're making right now, it still doesn't cover what they're losing. So I feel they kind of jumped on saying, hey, we're essential because that's they have a captive market at this time because video games, they are important. I don't feel that should be the point of like, well, that's why we're around, so we can, plop kids in front of the TV and keep them occupied, while, the parents work or whatever. It's like, we lived just fine without video games at one point, before the 80s.
Well, if you have parents that are working at home and they need something for the kids to do, that when their kid could normally go to a park, go do this stuff, but now they can't go, and it's very difficult because I have a 3-year-old to explain to him why he can't do these things that we normally do. So we have to come up with new things that he can do. But if we have to work, if you have a family that's working at home, you have to have this a lot of time to do what you need to do to work. So what are your kids going to do?
You get them an ant farm. You teach them how to paint a fence, mow the lawn. I mean, there's chores. There's always chores to be done. It's like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to wash some windows. Check this out. Isn't this fun? No,
But
it's
you have
not.
a lot of those things that you brought up. You have to be there, engaged with them. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be engaged with them while you're playing games, because I feel like that's where gaming is at its best, is when it's co-op at the couch and together. But as a means of distracting, I always feel like video games is far superior because it's an interactive media that you're actually engaging and doing. Whereas if you're sitting and watching a show and a movie or a television thing, you're just sitting there doing nothing, making no decisions.
Sure, and I'm not. Go ahead.
So let me do this so that we get if we can ask a very specific question as we're winding down here. But is part of the concern that you're having, Devmani, is it sitting with the term essential? Is that part of the issue, having the word essential connected with GameStop?
To a degree. So I guess to really lay this out, if it was a thing where GameStop as a company went to the governors and everything else and said, hey, like, we're in this kind of gray area of being essential, like this is what we provide and this is what, you know, I feel this could help the communities. Sure, but the way they kind of jumped in and said, hey, we're essential, it kind of felt like a cash grab. Like, they're already hurting for money, so they're looking for any possible angle to keep money coming in. And it really wasn't about the customer first or the workers first. It was very much business first, which almost all businesses are, right? Like, how do they survive? And then it's a trickle down, you know, from there.
With no disrespect to that, I think by staying open and being in business, that is looking out for your employees number one,
Sure.
especially in times like this.
But I mean, you can't run a business without your employees. It's a catch-22, right? Like, you have to kind of think about them to stay in business.
And I might be lucky. I might have been lucky in my leadership that I've had around me. I've never felt forced to work. I've never felt unsafe. And I'll say it multiple times. I'm sure there are situations where it probably happens, and it's not going to be just GameStop. It's going to be every single business.
Sure.
Because ultimately, it's people. People aren't perfect, and those are the ones that are doing this. And we've never been through a pandemic that I could recall, so it's a learning thing. You're bringing up good points as far as like what's essential and what's not. But yeah, GameStop is actually working with government officials and health department and getting authorized to stay open.
Right, because they just decided they were, and that didn't sit right even with government. Like in Massachusetts, where they got shut down because they were like, you're not an essential business, even though you think you are, you're not. We're going to pull your business license from you. And they got pulled and got the store shut down. They got tickets for being a public nuisance from the cops. So then they had to come back to the table because they were like, no, business is just not going to say I'm essential and just jump into it. Like, there was no conversation at first. So GameStop was just kind of like, I'm going to do it my way. And, you know, better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And typically I live my life that way. But in this case, I was like,
that's like military. That's military right there.
It's just like bad optics at that time. And I mean, I'm glad that GameStops are open for the employees, not for GameStop as a business, but, you know, for yourself, for my friends that work at GameStop and everything else like that. I'm glad they're still getting some sort of income. You know, I work in software development. I got laid off. Like, I didn't think that was going to happen. I'm like, I help make programs. You still need programs to run things. So, and they're like, well, we don't need your position anymore. So see you later. And I'm just like, wow.
That's rough. That's rough. And I think there's an overall picture that is even scarier. Like, if we don't have GameStop for these new console launches, they're gonna do horrible. They really are. We're the number one retailer when it comes to selling all this stuff, and I don't think people realize that. Like, when it comes to games, we sell more games than Walmart, Target, all these places. We're like the number one retail partner for gaming. And who's going to have a better launch than us? If these systems ever come out.
Funny enough, we did kind of allude to that in a previous podcast. You should go check it out, episode 3, whenever I put it on YouTube. Just saying, buddy.
Yeah, this was a really good conversation. I just want to go ahead and say thank you very much. Thanks, Devmani, for jumping in and giving us the
counterbalance,
asking some questions,
counterpoint, point counterpoint,
asking some questions and hitting up Jamal with some stuff. So getting some more perspective. And shout out to Jamal, giving us a very different perspective from inside the organization that we're all talking about. And gave me a lot to think about, actually. As a result of this conversation, there's some points on here that I didn't quite take into consideration. And I think it really does come down to, what does the term essential mean? How do we identify essential businesses, which I think eventually they're going to have a tiered system, and the significance of video games for people, for combating depression, allowing people to interact with something, giving them something to do, connecting with friends and family, and then being sure that the employees who provide these things are being safe. Like, this is a good conversation. Good conversation that I think is bigger than one stream, right?
And it's for real. But if you're hungry, you could come to my store, because our store sells cereal.
Do they got Fruit Loops, son? They got Fruit Loops.
Oh, you guys got the
We got
Bootios?
Sonic cereal, Pac-Man. No, we don't have the Bootios.
Oh man,
That's funny.
Yeah, go
I
ahead,
didn't
Eric.
know that.
What you got, man?
I don't got anything.
You did.
I think we're good to go.
Winding down, right?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
wind it
Eric
down.
has
Wrap up.
Wind it down. Wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you guys, as Angel said, for coming on. Jamal, Divmani, for letting us know your sides of the story, especially Jamal. We haven't had that GameStop. At least I haven't even seen anything online in regards to anybody really on the not like horribly negative side of GameStop. So that was good to hear. Exclusive here on Common Fury.
That's right.
But yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for hanging out, chatting. I know we missed a lot since there was a lot going on. We didn't get to talk about Valorant, anything like that. But that's
we have stuff for another time.
it. Just came out. Yeah, it's we'll talk about it another time. So you guys have a good evening, good night, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you. If you are spending it with family, enjoy that. If you're spending it with the game, enjoy that as well. It's all the same, as long as whatever makes you happy. Angel, anything going on tonight or this week? Excuse me.
Oh, okay. So, like I said, I'm going to be finishing up Bloodstained, but I'm doing that off stream. Maybe I should stream it, see if anybody finds grinding entertaining. But
I got a lot of
I'm also
complaints.
playing
I'm not gonna lie.
You got like, okay, yeah. So that's
But
why I'm
it
playing
was
off
Chris
stream.
Gold. It was Chris Gold.
But I'm
Chris
playing it a
Gold.
lot. Putting a lot of hours into the game. I love Bloodstained. Highly recommend it. I'm going to be over 40 hours when it's all done. Again, I'm going to be continuing doing the grind on the D2 as I chase level 100 on my season pass. But the next big game that I'm going to be starting is I'm going to be jumping into Spider-Man, because it showed up on PlayStation Now. I have that subscription, so I'm going to use it, and that'll probably be the next big game that I'm going to jump into. So, the new Spider-Man.
Alrighty, and as for myself, I'm going to be trying to play Bloodstained. Hopefully I don't sleep during my stream time again. But I got this new chair, so we should be good. I'll be enjoying that as well. So yeah, alright, we'll see you next week. Same around-ish time, same place. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye!
Are we done? Or can they still hear us? I don't know.
I mean, they can still hear us, but...
God,
Why don't you
I
have
was
it
like,
just
fuck. No.
audio when you switch to the Calm and Fury load?